So she's called it Never Again. The richest, most powerful countries in the Western world, those who believe themselves to be the keepers of the flame of the Muslim world's commitment to democracy and human rights, are openly financing and applauding Israel's genocide in Gaza. The Gaza Strip has been turned into a concentration camp. Those who have not already been killed are being starved to death. Almost the entire population of Gaza has been displaced. Their homes, hospitals, universities, museums, infrastructure of every kind has been reduced to rubble. Their children have been murdered. Their past has been vaporized. Their future is hard to see. Even though the highest court in the world believes that almost every indicator seems to meet the legal definition of genocide, ideal soldiers continue to put out their mocking victory videos, celebrating what almost look like fiendish rituals. They believe that there is a power in the world that will hold them to account, but they are wrong. They and their children's children will be haunted by what they've done. They will have to live with the loathing and the abhorrence the world feels for them. And hopefully, one day, everybody on all sides of this conflict who has committed war crimes will be tried and punished for them, keeping in mind that there is no equivalence between crimes committed while resisting apartheid and occupation and crimes committed while enforcing them. Racism is of course the keystone of any act of genocide. The rhetoric of the highest officials of the Israeli state has, ever since Israel came into existence, dehumanized Palestinians and likened them to vermin and insects, just like the Nazis once dehumanized Jews. It is as though that evil feeling never went away and is now only being recirculated. The never has been excised from the powerful slogan, never again, and we are left only with again. Never crossed out again. President Joe Biden, head of the state of the richest, most powerful country in the world, is helpless before Israel. And even though Israel would not exist without US funding, it's as though the dependent has taken over the benefactor. The optics say so. Like a geriatric child, Joe Biden appears on camera, licking an ice cream cone and vaguely mumbling about the ceasefire, while the Israeli government and military officials openly defy him and vow to finish what they started. To try and stop the hemorrhaging of the votes of millions of young Americans who will not stand for the slaughter and learning, Kamala Harris, the US Vice President, has been tasked with the job of calling for a ceasefire while billions of US dollars continue to flow to enable this genocide. And what is our country? It is well known that our Prime Minister is an intimate friend of Benjamin Netanyahu, and there is no doubt where his sympathies lie. India is no longer a friend of Palestine. When the bombing began, thousands of Modi's supporters put up the Israel flag as their DP on social media. They helped spread the vilest disinformation on behalf of Israel and the IDF. Even though the Indian government has now stepped back into a more neutral position, our foreign policy triumph is that we manage to be on all sides at once. We can be pro as well as genocide. The government has clearly indicated that it will act decisively against any pro-Palestine protest. And now, while the US exports what it has in abundant surplus weapons and money to aid Israel's genocide, India is exporting what our country has in abundant surplus. The unemployed poor to replace the Palestinian workers who will no longer be given work permits to enter Gaza. I'm guessing there will be no Muslims amongst our new recruits. People who are desperate enough to risk their lives in emerging. People desperate enough to tolerate overt Israeli racism against Indians. You can see it, especially social media. If you try to look, US money and Indian policy combined to oil Israel's genocidal war machine. What a terrible, unthinking shame. The Palestinians facing down the most powerful countries in the world, left virtually alone even by their allies, have suffered immeasurably. But they have won this war. They, their journalists, their doctors, their rescue teams, their poets, academics, spokespersons, and even their children have conducted themselves with courage and dignity that has inspired the rest of the world. The young generation in the Western world, particularly the new generation of young Jewish people in the US, have seen through the brainwashing and propaganda and have recognized apartheid and genocide for what it is. The governments of the most powerful countries in the Western world have lost their dignity and any respect that they might have had. Yet again, but the millions of protesters on the streets of Europe and the US are the hope for the future of